Ashnas Kimbatul.
Oh, hey guys. If you want to get better at audiobook narration, let's talk about 5 things you can do to improve your skills right now. The first thing you can do is work on your acting. If you want to learn how to shape your voice and give it the emotion so that people believe what you're saying, you have to learn how to act. One of the best ways to do this is to join your local theater community. Find a group nearby you that's putting on plays. Audition. Get involved. Artists like to work with other artists and help them improve. If you come to somebody and you say, how can I work on my skills, get better? What is it that I need to do? And listen to their feedback, they're going to love that. They're going to get involved and they're going to help you. And the reason that's important is because everyone inside your book is a character. You need to be able to get inside the character's head so that you can represent that character well. It might just be the author's voice that they want to articulate really well. Or it may be that this is a David Attenborough style voice that the author wants you to bring into their story. Either way, you need to have the confidence that you can do that. The other thing it helps you do is it helps you work on your vocal endurance and all of the little techniques. How do you position your body so that you get the best breath production, the best speech? How do you say them so that this mic can pick you up clearly? These are all things that you learn when you have to occupy a stage or work on a film set. Number 2, get organized. One of the things that I personally struggle with the most, because I have ADD and organization is not my strong suit, is getting the discipline and building up all of the little pieces that help me structure my day. Because the minimum length of an average audiobook is like 6 hours. Your first audiobook, it's going to take you about 10, maybe even 15 hours to record 1 hour of finished audio. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to listen back and realize that you've caused things to happen on your mic that you don't want. Things like pops and weird noises, and all of this is going to add time to your recording, let alone listening back to it, making sure that all of the words are right. So, if you don't have an organization system, you're going to struggle. On top of that, if you add in that this might be a fantasy book or a sci-fi book, or just fiction in general, you don't want the character that sounded like this in the last chapter to turn around and sound like this in the next chapter. You need to write all this down. You need to keep all of this ordered. On top of that, this is a business. You need to be able to set aside specific amounts of time so you can work on this, so that you can tell that author, this is my production schedule. You need to be able to tell them that you'll have their book done in a month or in 2 months, depending on how long this book is. So get organized and get all your stuff ready so that when you talk to your author, when you talk to yourself, you can trust that you're going to get these projects done. Number 3, recording space. If you don't have a well-treated space that naturally makes your microphone sound good, it won't matter how good of a microphone you have, you're gonna sound bad. We like to say garbage in, garbage out. Essentially, if you can't make the sound going into your microphone sound good beforehand, it's gonna be really hard to clean it up. There's certain things that you can take out in post that are not super destructive. Things like low hums from engine noise off in the distance. But a lot of things make sound in the same range that we speak. And if you try to remove that, you remove pieces of your voice. So you need to make sure that you can block out as much sound coming into your booth as possible. And on top of that, especially in the types of places that we record in, these small recording studios, mine's 4x4, you need to know how to treat this room so that it sounds good. Spend more money here. If you have money to spend it here, because this is where you're going to get the meat of the return. Plus, you need to know what sounds good. You need to be able to listen to the sound you make and know that this is reverb, this is boxiness, this is too bass heavy, this is the Goldilocks zone, this is just right. You need to know that listening to your audio, and you can't do that without working on these skills and building an understanding of what a recording room should sound like. Number 4, buy the equipment. there's a reason this is number 4. It's not because it's the most important and I'm saving it for last. It's because you need to work on these other things that we've talked about. Work on your acting, get organized, learn what a good space sounds like. But once you have done that, then start looking at what kind of equipment you need. You'll need a decent mic to record into. But what do I mean by decent? I mean something in the $50 to $100 range. If you have the money to spend, try to spend 80% of your budget on the recording space, and then 20% of your budget on your microphone and your tech. If you have a good space, you're gonna get away with a lot of stuff. There's a really good video from a guy named Mike Delgadio on the Booth Junkie channel. And what he shows you, and I'll link it in the description, is an unfair comparison between two mics. He takes this really expensive mic and puts it in a terrible location. And then he takes a super cheap mic and puts it in a really nicely treated studio. It's hands down the space that makes it matter. Focus on the space first, but do get a microphone so you can start recording and get in front of authors and show them your work. Just remember, don't spend tons of money, and a good room is worth way more than a good mic. Number 5, practice. And I mean practice. You need to put in your 10,000 hours here. Keep working on it. You need to work with your mic, get to know it. If you have an audio interface, get to know that. Find the best spot in your recording room that gives you the right kind of sound. Everything can be practiced. It doesn't just have to be you on the mic. When you're having a conversation, listen to how your friends talk. Do they take their time with sentences, really give them weight? Or are they kind of nervous and just bounce from topic to topic and really try to get your attention? Listen to what that sounds like. Because these are characters. And in order for them to feel real, they have to respond to one another. So when you have an idea of what certain reactions will give you in a real conversation, you can ground the conversations you have in the books. You'll hear with really talented narrators, they don't need to change their voice that much. They can differentiate in subtle ways. They can add the weight to this character, soften their voice, but subtly. And a lot of authors don't want this big bombastic energy where the characters are super different and it's like an audio drama. Some of them just want that little edge so that I know who's talking. I just need in that scene to have a little bit of differentiation and separation. You can just make it you, but subtle. The key thing is you're not going to be great out of the box. First day you isn't going to compare to 5-year you, and it shouldn't. You should grow with the practice and the work that you do. So those are the 5 things that I think you should be working on to improve your narration skills so that you can land that next audition. Bring all of these skills into every audition. Be thinking about what your room sounds like. Be thinking about how you're portraying the character after you've studied some of your different acting skills. Think about how you're organizing your day. How many of your hours in a day can you spend? Maybe you have a full-time job and you need to stay organized with a book schedule around that. And then make sure that you have the right equipment for your budget, but prioritize the room first. And lastly, practice. Practice your skills in conversations. Listen to how people talk. Do some market research and figure out what it means to be one of the top narrators on Audible. But most of all, if you haven't started yet, get started. Do the work and enjoy it. I know I do.